This morning on BRN, were there warning signs when you saw your aging parents over the holidays? We're going to welcome back to the program Kim and Mike Barnes of Parenting Aging Parents. Kim, Mike, great to see you. Thanks for joining us on the program this morning.
Glad to be with you.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Well, you guys haven't changed, and I guess caregiving is treating you well. Tell us a little bit about, you were just talking offline about the Facebook group, Parenting Aging Parents. How's it doing, and how's it grown?
It's grown a lot. We're up to 23,000 plus in the group, which is represented all over the country because there's so many people out there who don't realize how much help that they need until they're in it. And once they're in it, they say, where can I get help? Because I feel so alone.
And it's unfortunate that in some ways we think we're just at the tip of the iceberg because there are so many people that this affects. It really affects just about every family to some degree. And it's a really tough and challenging stage of life, especially if you feel like I'm the only one going through it. We see that when you can come together with others, you can really leverage others' experiences and learn from each other, but also it just makes you feel like I'm not the only one.
And how do I have to pay to join the Facebook group? How do I join it? How do I find you if I'm a caregiver or thinking about becoming a caregiver?
Yeah, really, it's in any stage of that process of whether you are already caring, whether you're doing hands-on caregiving, or like both of us, where we're helping from afar, or if you're in the thick of it. So it's, in that preparation phase or while you're in the middle of it. And the Facebook group is free. You can go to the website, parentingagingparents.com, and there's a button to click on to join the community, or you can go straight and find it through Facebook.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's kind of shift gears a little bit. Still caregiving, but maybe I'll start with you, Kim. And we just rolled through the holiday season, fun times, get to be with family, friends. But maybe people were noticing that maybe a loved one was kind of suffering. What are some of the key signs that a loved one, especially an older loved one, may be suffering or maybe having challenges that maybe you need to step in?
Yeah, I mean, and I think that sometimes we, if we have a loved one who lives in a different city, so we may talk on the phone every single day, there's still things that you're not going to maybe pick up on. Some things you do when there's cognitive challenges or you're realizing that they're not remembering or they're getting really forgetful. Some of those may be evident when you're just having phone conversations. But when you're in person, you can really see things more clearly. Okay, how do they look? How are their eating habits? Are they losing weight that maybe they aren't intending to? Are they forgetful? Are they just having a hard time getting around? When you're watching them walk, are they having, or are they clutching the sofa? Are they clutching the wall? Are they having a hard time getting up or getting down? Those are just some of the beginnings of some of those things.
Yeah, I think you just have to notice how they've changed since the last time you saw them. I watched my dad pretty closely because he just turned 87, and
Happy birthday, Dad.
he lives on the second floor of an independent living place, and he's proud of the fact that he takes the stairs every time. He goes up the stairs to go up to his room, takes the stairs down to go down to eat or if he needs to leave or anything. But I watch him just in case if he's not going up the stairs very well, if he says, yeah, I'm riding the elevator now. That would be a red flag to me. When my mom, before she went into memory care a few years ago, I would talk to her on the phone and, Mom, what are you doing? Oh, yeah, just reading another book. My mom hadn't read a book in 10 years, but she thought she had. But if I just talked to her on the phone, I'd think, oh, okay, I can see my mom. She reads all the time. She's reading a book. Everything's fine. But see her in person and realize she hadn't touched a book. There's dust everywhere on the books. Okay, red flag again. So how have they changed?
Well, and that was also a red flag too, speaking of dust, was that
Yeah.
his mom was always a meticulous housekeeper.
Yes.
Meticulous, and we started noticing that there was more dust on the counters, and that was a red flag for her because that was out of character. So anything that is out of character for them, whether it's how they keep the house, is it kind of a mess right now and they've always been really tidy and or clean? How are they carrying themselves? Do they typically always dress well, not necessarily fancy, but just like, are they always, dressed and match and they always have their hair done or they're wearing jewelry, things like that. If you notice a change where all of a sudden now they look a little more unkempt, they're not doing some of the things that they used to, whether it's getting their, painting their nails, wearing jewelry, those kinds of things can all just be okay, is that a physical challenge that they're having, or potentially is that something more cognitive where there might be some signs of memory
Yeah,
loss?
don't write off a change like, oh, well, it's just, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Mhm.
Changes,
Is it?
when we're talking about elderly people, changes usually are not good.
Yeah.
And I mean, is it too? Obviously, you want to be close to parents. I mean, but a lot of us are disparate. I mean, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. My mom and dad live in Baltimore. My brother lives in Massachusetts. I mean, is there a benefit in some way to being away because you don't see, so you can notice a change? If I'm involved with my parents or involved with a loved one every day, those changes are a little bit more incremental, short of like falling or a gait change.
Yes.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like when you're around somebody all the time, you don't notice 5 pounds or 10 pounds because it happens gradually, or sometimes even on ourselves. And then all of a sudden you see somebody who you haven't seen in a while, and you're like, whoa, so similar that you're going to be more likely to notice the changes because there's going to be a bigger one since the last time you saw them. And I think that it might just jump out at you a little bit more. Now, certainly when you're around them more often, you're going to be more aware of the fact that they're having the same conversations over and over. Where if you just kind of, blow into town, spend a day with them, you may not pick up on some of the same, especially I think the cognitive
Mhm.
challenges that you might if the more time you spend with them.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, you talked about your dad, I think, going and taking the stairs,
Mhm.
which sounds great. Do you look at things like gait, balance?
Mhm.
Look, and look, anyone who knows me knows that I trip and fall quite often, but it's a lot easier, not often, but I mean, I stumble like anybody
Sure, we
else.
all do. Yeah.
Right.
How do you differentiate maybe between a stumble, like, oh shoot, that was a stair that I didn't see, or a 2x4 on the ground that I didn't see?
Yeah.
How do you balance that with actual changes?
Well, I'd like to think that you, me, Kim, we all we trip every so often. It's not
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
that happens numerous times during the day.
Mhm.
Are you having trouble? Did you forget how to walk, Dad? What's going on here? My dad had COVID and was in the hospital, back during the true COVID days, about 4 years ago. And when he got out, he was moving really slow, had trouble, couldn't go up the stairs at the time.
Mhm.
And I knew then, things didn't look good, but he went to physical therapy, he improved, things got better. But at the time when we saw him then, we could tell there was a drastic change from
Mhm.
before COVID to
Mhm.
after he was in the hospital for three
Mm.
days. And so it's those types of changes that you have to watch for because,
Mhm.
again, we all slip up, we all forget, oh,
We're
shoot.
not paying attention. We're
Yeah,
looking at our
yeah. What's
phones.
your name? Oh yeah, Jeffrey. That's right. Yeah, that type of thing. We all forget something, but and we all trip every once in a while. But when it's something that happens time after
Mhm.
time after time in a short amount of time, that's when
Mhm.
it's a red
Mhm.
flag.
And
And sometimes I was going to say
go ahead,
sometimes with
Kim.
the walking, sorry, sometimes with the walking, it's, are they sort of shuffling?
Mhm.
Do they look unsteady? Are they grabbing your arm when you're going up a curb, for instance? Are they having to really, make a conscious effort to, get up there? How are they doing when they're getting in and out of the car? Those are things that you can watch for that can be signs of physical weakness. Do we need to try to bring in physical therapy? That's something that we've done for my mom recently. What are the things that maybe are different than the last time? And some of that is even looking in their house to see what are the things that we can look at for kind of let's try to hedge our bets here and take away some of the potential risk factors that may be in their house that they may, maybe have never been an issue before, but now maybe you need to be more concerned about.
Is there a case where you have to balance denial? We all kind of have this image of our parents or our loved ones, and we're fine. How much does that play into this evaluation? Because and also selfishly, we might be in denial because we don't want to. Maybe we don't want to deal with it. I'm not expressing that's my perspective, but I mean that some people are saying like, oh, I can't. I got kids. I got a job. I don't want to have to deal with this, so they deny it. How do you balance that deniability?
You just have to be honest with yourself, which can be tough to do. My mom, as she started showing some signs of Alzheimer's, several years ago, she would actually say something every once in a while, like, "I'm just glad I don't have that thing my sister had," because her sister passed away from Alzheimer's, and she would be in denial about it. And as I'd watch my mom, and I would see her holding the newspaper every morning, like she had Sudoku and she was going to be playing it, but she wasn't filling it out. It's like, okay, there's must be a problem there because you used to do the crossword every day and the Sudoku every day, and now you're just holding it and you're acting like you're doing it, but you're not. And it's one of those things where you don't want to admit that mom or dad they've fallen that far and they can't do what they used to do. But you have to open your eyes and see and admit to yourself, okay, that is a change and that's something we need to take care of.
Well, and I think even with your parents that it was, we started seeing signs and it took a while before your dad was
Dad's,
willing to
yeah.
to admit it and share it with us.
hmm
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember.
dad came to me. This was several years ago, but he came to me and he said, "I think your mom's having trouble remembering things." It's like, "Dad, you're just now noticing this? I noticed that a couple of years ago." It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, she's really
Uh,
forgetting things.
Yeah.
and
And
maybe that's deniability as well, or
sure,
just
yeah, it
Sure.
is.
being
It is,
aware
and
of it.
that's where y'all have to help each other. It's a family thing. It's a team thing where you have to work together on something like that. To where I have to help my dad. My dad helps me in other things, but help him understand that the woman you've been married to for almost 65 years is not what she used to be,
hmm
and here's what we need to do about it.
hmm
Because it can be hard for all of us to take that big step to do the care that they really need.
And and in some ways too, it's not being overly like looking more for something that's not there too. I mean, I think that sometimes we can be at the other extreme of, oh gosh, she had a little stumble and so that must mean this, when it really just means that they just had a little stumble,
Stumble, yeah.
like we all might do. It's balancing, not being extreme on either end, and really, what's a one-off
hmm
versus this is maybe a
Continuous
symptom or a
thing.
continuous issue.
Yeah.
Well, great, well said, Kim, Mike. That just begs the question: what do you do? And for that, we're going to hold off till tomorrow morning. We're going to bring you back to talk about that very important topic. How do you respond when you notice someone declining or a change in behavior? Mike, Kim, great to see you, and we look forward to having you back on the program tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
And don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse, where all the news in one place. Details, of course, at our website. And as I said, we'll pick up the conversation tomorrow morning with part 2 and talk about what you need to do if you notice a slight decline in your aging parents. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.